I guess we're on now. Hey guys, I'm Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm supposed to say that spiel every single time, I guess, because of lawyers. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and post the link in the Discord. Still have the cough, though I do have some honey in tea. So we're going to try that out. And I'll still drink some scotch, but we'll give it a shot. Some honey and tea. What's up, Edmund? How's it going? What's so special about tomorrow? It's Thursday. Max, it's Thursday. That's what's special about it. It's bring your daughter to work day for my wife, so that's what's special. All right, let's roll. Excuse me, sorry. So I got some honey and tea, and we're going to see if that helps my voice any. Yeah, absolutely, Lexinator. I'm getting used to trying to just do a recap for you guys. I'll try not to be too long this time, but what's going on over mining? Reroll gaining. So they're just gonna risk it and not hedge. That's kind of what it looks like. Kind of looks like they're not hedging the right way. Yeah, Charles, I'm okay. I'm obviously like my throat's been really bothering me. I've had a cough for the last couple of days. Can't seem to shake it. But last night I didn't sleep real well. My son is he's gonna be 2 this upcoming summer, but he woke up like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times in the middle of the night, and I was the one taking care of him. So I didn't get much sleep last night. So if my DD didn't make any sense, I apologize, but I did try. But once I got like, the DD out, and I was like, do I just delete it now? I've already like put it out there. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna leave it with the wrong date. All right. I did not see the price the entire day. What happened in the morning? We can go over that. So in the morning, I think we dumped out, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so we dumped out in the morning. We kind of like gapped down a little bit, tiny bit, hit back up to that point, and then just dumped down. And then the rest of the day was just kind of like slowly chopping it over. So yeah, it wasn't, they made 2 runs at the end of the day, and then we've kind of came back down. So the larger time frame, if we do like the hourly, we've came up, we've kind of been consolidating, and this is just gonna be the chop. They're fighting for 550. Like that's the big thing. This is too long to put into question. Can you let me know of my recent DD, Devin? Do me a favor and send me a DM. I'll go ahead and I'll take a look at it. I don't know who your Reddit name is, so I don't know what your DD is yours. But yeah, if you can just send me a DM inside the Discord, I'll read over it and I'll let you know what I think. Yeah, that was my tea. I mean, I do have my scotch next to me too if I need it, but you tagged me. I'm gonna be honest, man. I have a lot of things that I'm like. At one point I opened my phone and I saw that there were like, I don't know, like 200 and something like notifications on Reddit. And while I'm at work, I can't go through all of them. So like sometimes I skip over some stuff. So if you can just DM me, that'd be great. Because at this point, it's getting like kind of hectic, and I try to respond to everybody, but it's getting hard now. But if you directly message me, I'll really try, especially on the Discord, because I'm on there a lot. Scotch. Down to Pelly. Yep. What's up, Mace? What's up, Cool Archer? Simplify, Motor T. So we're getting some more Marines up in here. That's good stuff. I like it. Some Alright, let's see. Gurgle some warm water with salt every 2 hours. Yeah. If I have melatonin, man, I'm gonna fall asleep and I'm gonna be jabbering like I was the other day when I was kind of drunk and just going over stocks. All right. What's up, Billy? You ever noticed how the SI was down 2% yesterday, seemingly without any covering? Yeah, so just to you guys know, so I think the most recent data came out yesterday, and what happens is Ortex makes an estimate, but that estimate obviously gets tweaked because it's, when they actually have real hard numbers to go off of, they adjust their numbers. So it may have been 42%, and when the real data came out, they may have overestimated, so they have to like tweak it down. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there was actually less, shorting that happened. It just means that they might have overestimated how much the SI was. So that's why that sometimes happens, because once you get exchange reported data, that's like real hard numbers. So just so you know, happy wife, happy life. Take 13 milligrams of fentanyl. Actually, I am taking that right now for SAMC. I did take phentamine this morning, and yeah, I feel the cough. Yeah, I've got hiatal hernia and like GERD, and it's just basically acid reflux, but it like lives in my esophagus and makes me cough. I've got to probably look at getting, I don't know, surgery or something. I'm supposed to go see the GI specialist with the VA, so hopefully that will do it. But they think it was caused by me coughing a lot, and I'm stationed in Iraq twice, so I was on a burn pit thing right next to the KBR station. So, all right, let's see. The SI was down because the new exchange. Yeah, exactly. SAMC's got it. I said the same thing. I'm behind you guys on messages, so. All right. Danny says, I'm thinking about loading up on some 520 calls at 550. Yeah, I mean, like, personally, I like being in the money, and I think it's twofold. It's because, as you can see, we ran up to here, and then when everybody was trying to push, 750s and 10s, they were able to slide it right back down. And now we're going back to the same thing. It's kind of like going up in waves. And so for me, I'm buying stuff down here in this range. I'm not buying stuff up here, or even like here, because come Friday, if they really want to, they're going to push that down. And so I'd rather be in the money and deep enough where they're not going to get my shares and knock me out of the money. What's up, bro? Do you think they'll start hedging the fives yet? I won't even ask about the 550s. Yeah, so, I mean, let me pull up the options chain for you guys so I can at least... Excuse me. Let's get some options up here so we can take a look at them. Because I didn't look at the end of the day. I had an interview in the beginning of the day that I was conducting an interview. We were looking for like an accounts receivable person. And then at the end of the day, I actually had a couple things I was looking at, just doing some research, and I was doing a little bit of trading too. So let's see. Let's get some screenshots in here. Where is... I have to look at the exchange reported data too. Zoom out, and let's get 2 weeks worth of options up so we can take a look, kind of look at the big picture in the next 2 weeks. And then I'll do my spiel, and some of you guys are getting used to this, where I kind of highlight out boxes. And for me, I use yellow is in the money because TD uses yellow in the money. It just makes it easy to kind of border it, kind of understand where you're at. And then I use red for burned. It obviously this early in the week, you're not, all these numbers are fluctuating. So, but what I would really like to see eventually is us push up into, the 550 range. I mean, that would be, even finishing over 450 would be solid for this week. But I really would like to see 5 if I could. That would be really, really nice going into the next week. And then, let's see. I usually highlight out these strikes in purple. All right, so we'll do it down here too. Let's shift that up. Extend that down. All right, let's take a look at next week's as well. I know you guys can't see this yet, but I'll bring it over in a second. I guess I could have done this in front of you, but I just didn't want you seeing how uncoordinated I am with my cursor. All right. Ah, shit. Make my little boxes. Makes it a little easier to read. And what I'll do is I'll grab like some blue, kind of show you areas of interest. So I think right now this is the battleground. I'll even extend it to here. So this whole range right here and right here, this is going to be the battleground. Let me see how that looks on YouTube. Can you guys see that? Is that clear, or should I zoom in? Is that a little better? Let's see if that's better. Should I get more than that? Yeah, that's probably good right there. Yeah, zoom in. Okay, so somebody said to zoom in. All right, so I'll move it over. So really what's going to happen is, so somebody's buying these deep in the money ones, which is interesting. Like, that's really deep in the money. I don't. Usually that's like market make. I don't even know if it's market makers. Maybe it's just retail doing it. Usually they're not that deep in the money. Usually you buy like a 250 or a 3 or It's kind of weird seeing 32 randomly down there, but it could be part of like a trading strategy. But okay, so here we go. We got basically, this is the battleground here and here. And so what they were doing today, and you can see they added a whole bunch of volume on the 5s. So in the morning, what happened was, if we bring up our, where's my mouse? Where is it? Okay. If we go to, let's go to 1 minute. All right. So first thing in the morning, they came out, right? And they had it right here at like above 5. And what they do? They loaded up a whole bunch of like 450s and 5s. And they pushed the stock down within the money options. So what's happening there is this. So they started loading up these ones first, and then they started loading up these at the same time. So what ends up happening is when you start having in the money, the market maker starts hedging because, once they push down under $5, which is right here, right? So here's your $5 mark. They start de-hedging the calls, which they weren't fully hedged anyway, and they were basically buying these $5 puts, which are putting more downward pressure. It's basically just a freak out retail. So some retail probably paper-handed. It's gonna happen. And sometimes there are people that are nervous and they're just gonna Yesterday was a bit choppy. The day before was a bit choppy. We're right now in a series of like waterfalls, build up, waterfall, build up, waterfall. So people are getting nervous. You come out, it was already down pre-market, and they dump it. And so you can see right here, the rest of the day was basically just accumulating, and then they went for 550 again. So really, you didn't move that much from like here to basically here, which we finished down because they hit the end part of the day. So we finished at 529, and we opened at like, what was it, like 513. So it was like the swing was big for the day, or big enough for the day. If you went down to the low of 475 and the high of, that's a decent swing. But at the same time, overall, it really didn't move. It was pretty much a sideways day, but it was just choppy. So, I mean, just go back into the options then. You can see how they moved it down, right? But here's the dangerous thing about buying like all these puts, right? Is if the stock goes up and, comes up here, right? Because right now these are burned. Like we're sitting right here above 5. So right now these are burned as of right now. So if the stock continues to move up, all this stuff gets burned. And then this market maker is going to be real pissed because honestly, now they're going to have to stack these ones to try to control the price, because I think they're running out of shares personally. I mean, they're clearly going to try to sneak them in when they can, but I'm not accusing any specific, but it seems like there's lots of shares out there right now. And that is evident. So, but look at this. Like, not all these are probably bullish, but oh my God. Like, think about this. We have a 26 million float that's probably locked up, right? And just in the options chains right here. We'll do a little math on this. And I'll even take out 20% or maybe more. Maybe I'll take out 70%. But, like, plus, and you're looking at right here is probably about, even if we took out like 400,000 shares, this one's about 1 mil. This one's over 1 mil. This one's over 1 mil. Like right there, that's like 3 million shares, which is like, like, what's the math on that? If we had 3 million shares, about 10% of the float right there, the free float, is just sitting there in those options chains. Like, and I'm sure if we go down to like May 20th, there's probably going to, by the time May 20th rolls around, if people keep rolling these options, that number is going to be huge. Like, you're going to have maybe like the entire, like half the float in the options chain, something like that. And that's going to be right around earnings, and there's a whole lot of things that can happen. But I didn't mean what I said in the DD today, if you read it. I've said that, despite what happens to earnings, because they're going to dump on earnings. It doesn't matter if we had the best earnings ever, and I've been saying this in these streams, they're going to dump on it because they figure retail doesn't know how to read a balance sheet anyway. So even if it's not that bad, they're still going to make it look like it's bad. So people are like, oh, we missed on earnings, and then the stock's dumping, and that's going to be the end of the play in their eyes. But that's not how I look at it. Because the numbers don't make sense for us to be trading the way we are. And it looks like they're starting to run out of ammo, or at least legal ammo at this point right now. They only have a certain amount they can do. So, yeah, if you think about this, if they start having to hedge the 5s, that's over 1 million shares right there. Like, did they hedge 1 million shares already? I don't know. And if we actually push up into the 550s, that's another like 1 point something million like share. Like, are those fully hedged? Probably not. That means you also de-hedged these ones. Did you do that? Probably not. And, notice these are really, really cheap on this side. It's like that for a reason. They're making it super convenient for them to stack up those puts. Billy said that he's got in the money calls at $3. Good stuff, Billy. Can you please explain your overall thoughts on the huge dip this morning and the strong recovery all day? I feel like it was similar to the one we had to 7. Yeah, I mean, like, when I look at this right here, this to me means that if they don't get their shit together, the market maker doesn't get their shit together, they're going to lose control of this real quick, because like this is a slippery slope. If this starts getting built up and they can't get enough shares to like push the price down, and they can't get retail to freak out and sell, this gets messy for them real quickly, because it could have a mini run this week, and then that's going to put momentum into the next week, and then the next week, and then by the time the 20th rolls around, you're going to have a lot of options in this, because if they start missing things, and now the price is sitting at 6-7, and you now have literally like, if we look down at, let me see if I can pull up, for example, January. Yeah, like January, even I'm just looking at some of the like larger, options chains that are out there. I mean, each one of these has like, this one's got like 3,600 open interest in June, and this one's got like 2,100 open interest in August, and so all these are in the money right now. Like there's October's there's 34. Like these are significant numbers. Like if people decided to exercise their stuff early, or like demand, like I'm looking at like January. Like right now, there's like probably 1 million shares in January that are in the money. Now January is a long ways away, which means that they're not hedging those yet. So like there's a lot of stuff that can literally. I mean, just looking at some of the open interest, like the 750s for May right now is getting up there. I mean, you're looking at like 4 million shares at just 750. So if this runs, it's going to run hard. And it seems like everyone's stacking those. Yeah, but I mean, even this week, I mean, it's looking like they could get a gamma run up to probably like maybe 7 or 8 if they really like had to get pushed up and hedge these. They would push it down, my guess, back into like this range, but like that's a lot of shares they would owe the next week, and then you're dealing with all people rolling over. So yeah, it's a possibility. Let me see. So yeah, am I optimistic? I'm realistic, is what I would say. I don't know where it's going to go. I think it would be solid just to finish anywhere in this area. I would love it, obviously, to finish up here, but for right now, I'm being realistic. I think this is the area I'd like to stay in. If we can hit one of these ones there. Yeah, I did add some DD. The keto diet will cure your GERD. Okay, I'll try it. At this point, I'll try anything to get rid of this damn thing. Hi, everyone. The good fight continues. What's up, Hustle? Smash that like button, says Vorn Ven. I've been asked if someone could do direct routing if they live overseas. If I remember correctly, overseas people actually get a better deal than the U.S. people, because I believe they actually have to verify that they're real shares that they're getting. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard back during the GameStop days, but we could probably look into that. That'd be like a good research project. We could figure out if, but I don't know if they can do direct routing. That's something that they would have to ask their brokers. At least you don't have desert storm sickness. Yeah. Sounds like you have a hiatal hernia. I do. We do have a hiatal hernia. Good evening, Anna. What's up, Jeff? Basically, my DD was about, this is Devin, about Friday and Monday, about the reg show closing. Yeah, all right, so here's the deal. They're supposed to close out after 13 days, if I remember correctly. And I wrote some DDs on that in the past about how basically they got screwed. I did call FINRA to ask some clarification on that. Give myself a little more tea. Well, not tea, but cold water with a tea bag in it now. But essentially what I was told was it's an aggregate, so it's not fully, like, you can have people going on and off of reg show. So sometimes the brokerage is in violation. And so that brokerage has 13 days to get their stuff cleared out, but they may go on and off it multiple times. And so as long as there's somebody still on it, the thing doesn't specify who is on it. So that's how sometimes you can get a longer reg show than the 13 days. So say, for example, brokerage A has a bunch of FTDs, and they finally just say, okay, we have to buy in. So they buy in, and then brokerage B, though, was a couple days behind, and they hit their reg show, violation. So even though brokerage A solved theirs, brokerage B is now still on it. So that might be another day before brokerage B solves theirs. And so that's what I was told, at least by FINRA, when I talked to them on the phone, that how you could have a stock go longer than the 13 days, which makes sense. I mean, that part I'm not mad about. The problem I was having is like, okay, then who's making sure all these things are happening? And they're like, well, the SEC. I'm like, well, that's about as useless as the asshole on my elbow. So, all right, let's see. But yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious to see what will happen, because I think we'll at least start having to do some pressing to see what's going on with the SEC, and are they making these guys close out at least once they've been on the threshold for 13 days. Change the name of your stream Silent at Work from Silent at Work. Is there more to that? Okay. Right, the second I guess I was on the right video. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot to change the title of this. I don't know if I'm able to do that. Can I do that now? Am I able to fix that now? Shit. Sorry about that, guys. I totally forgot about that. Let's see. ATER, Anon. Let's try. I don't know if this will update it. We'll find out real quick. Live stream. I'll put today's date. The actual date, I guess. Stayed the 27th, right? Yeah. It's Wednesday, right? Okay. If I hit update all, I wonder what that does. Will that change the stream? Okay. Does that look right now? If anyone refreshes their browser, does that fix it? When Moon. I will do one called When Moon, but I want it to be closer to maybe when we're running. Any thoughts on the time and date of earnings announced today? What does it mean? Monday the 9th after market close. I mean, that's pretty typical. Typically what they do is after the market closes, they have a conference call. I've been on all the conference calls recently. I've been on I think 3 of them. You can call in yourself. I mean, you can either call in or you can listen to it on your computer. They usually have a link for that. Trying to clear up my scotch glass. It's dirty. I have some sediment that was settling from the barrel. Okay. But yeah, you can listen in, and I mean, honestly, I don't think it has to do anything specific. Like, they're doing it after, they're not doing it on a Friday, they're doing it on a Monday. So that shouldn't affect options for the week before. Let's see. I have a bunch of $4 calls for the 27th. Yeah. And on how much is your net worth ballpark? I mean, I don't really discuss that stuff. I can tell you this. I'm comfortable, but at the same time, I drive a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. So we're not like super fancy people. Our house isn't that big. It's, you know, I would say we're middle class. That's what I would say. So I am not, you know, not rolling in it, but I'm also not like, you know, I'm able to put food on the table. So there you go. Can you zoom a bit? Okay, better. Okay. Did we do bad today? No, today was fine. We're down we're down 2 pennies, so that's fine. Picked up a $4 call for 90 cents. That's pretty good. That's a good price. I think institutional algos paper handing. Yeah, that's fine. I'll be honest with you. I called it out yesterday. I said I think that there's some long they convinced to sell. Like maybe they got approached and they were like, listen, like if you sell, we need a little help on this, and that's what they've been trying to do. But I also pointed out that there's only like 14 million shares that institutions own. So like, honestly, they don't have that many shares. We have more shares than they do. So I'm not super worried about it. Do you really think paper hands are having a real effect on price at this point? No, I'll be honest with you. I think people are day trading. I think it's bringing lots of traders out because we're getting some decent volume. Not like awesome volume, but like enough volume where we're having volatility, and volatility brings different types of traders. So you have people day trading, you have people swing trading, you have people who are buying and holding. It's a combination of all these things. And yeah, there are people that are getting shaken out because they're not, you know, probably experienced, or they're, you know, some people are just nervous traders, and they typically like put in stop losses and they get stopped out often, and that's kind of, you know, what they do. But, you know, it's not easy. Like this was a rough patch for a lot of people. I mean, and I'll be honest, like those of us who have been in this for a long, long time, you know, yeah, if we zoom out to where'd it go? One of these. Oh, I brought it over here. That's what happened. If I zoom out to like this, I mean, this was a long stretch of just bleed. Like, look at all that red. Look at all that downward pressure. Just red, 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 red forever. There were days where it felt like there hadn't been a green day in, you know, like years. That's what it felt like. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing mentally to be able to be like, I'm going to hold through all this stuff, and I still think I'm right. That something weird's going on with this. All right. Yeah, so like 50% of the float's already locked up on the 20th, under 10. Yeah, I mean, and there's going to be more of that when the stuff gets rolled. So I'm just telling you now, it's going to get super spicy at some point. Do you think we will gap down a lot from earnings? I mean, I don't really care, to be honest. Like everyone keeps being really nervous about the earnings. To me, we've had earnings; they've been good. They gapped up, and then the shorts just nailed it down. And like that's what they're doing. Like it doesn't matter what earnings are, you're going to get nailed down. Like look at this. This was right before. So this is when I entered somewhere in this range. And so since then, we had this earnings, and we actually beat on this earnings. Look at this. This was the earnings call. The next day, we gapped up. We were running up to like 8, and they just shoved it down. Like just absolutely nailed it down. Here's another earnings. Oops. I'll just leave that out there. I don't know where that went. Maybe here. But here's another earnings, right? Another earnings wasn't the next day. The earnings came out. Boom, we came up. We were trying to get some, because the earnings wasn't that bad, and they just pushed it down again, and then we almost hit a new low. Like earnings are with Aterian, they're just going to short it. It doesn't matter what they are; they're going to short it. So I'm not worried about earnings. Earnings to me changes nothing. Like the only thing that's different is I get to see better numbers that are more reflective because the last numbers I saw were from December. So on the 10K. All right, let's see. Well, the squeeze before earnings. I mean, pull up my crystal ball. It will probably squeeze around earnings is my guess. That would just be not financial advice, just a guess. It would probably be around that time frame because I don't know how much they can keep up. If retail just continues to be this relentless buying, and with the share price being as low as it is, retail can afford a lot of these shares and hold them. And if at some point it gets to the point where they just push it back down, then all right, retail will probably DRS their shares is my guess. Because, all right, you want to do this, we'll do this too, and we'll prove that we own the float. So that there's all sorts of things going on here, and there's lots of things that can happen. So we'll find out what ends up going on. But I did actually hear back from the SEC about my correspondence with them. I spoke to a woman on the phone. She did call me back. She said that she was going to send over an email, which I didn't look to see if I got it from her, but I need to do that today. I'll look at it tonight. But, yeah, she said that I can fill out and send information over, and I've been gathering a bunch of evidence, from, like, stuff we're seeing that's clearly not acceptable, bad market practices. Like, I think somebody showed me, let me pull this up. I think... Where is... I think Lex showed me this. Like, this is from today. Right around the close, right? Like, you notice anything here? How did these get through? There was a bunch of, buy orders coming in at, 529. Somehow they snuck these 522s in there right at close. Like, it just, stuff like that is, it's, we're getting spoofed. We're getting all sorts of things happening. Let me just see. I know we have a whole bunch, like, where's another one they were using? Sorry. Yeah, so, like, where did I save? I don't know if I saved it on this one. It's probably my work computer. But, I've saved a whole bunch of, like, evidence of them spoofing. I've saved a bunch of evidence of, like, the volumes that didn't match. Like, like when I'm going through and looking at aggregated volume versus, like, legs, and then not that number doesn't resolve itself. Down the line, like, there's just variations of things that are like, okay, something's off here. So, isn't earnings May 5th? Yeah, earnings is actually May the 9th. It was estimated to be May 5th. That's why I kept saying May 5th. But when they announced it, they actually said it's going to be on the 9th. Usually they'll give you, like, a rough time frame, and it will be within, like, 5 days of that time frame. So, the 5th turned into the 9th. Let's see. Fund's going to go to bed. Good night. So when they start opening strike prices, be looking for something really big. It's also a more level of control. Like, they opened weeklies on us, and once they open more strike prices, they're looking to hide stuff in the options chains, and they're also looking to kick the can down the road. So just be careful with that. That's a little trick that you'll learn. Is when they give themselves more options, they tend to play more games. So May 5th was the estimate. Yeah, it would be confirmed. That's right, Danny. I read some DD on Reddit about some whale buying millions of Aterian stock. Yeah, there was a guy, I think his name's like Batty or something like that. But yeah, supposedly he bought about like $5 million worth of Aterian, which is about 1 million shares. And I don't know if he bought more since then, but he's deep in it. And I think he bought around, was it 450 or it might have been 550. I don't know which one he bought at, but he bought in, and I hope for him he stays in, because that's a lot of shares that he locked up away, and my guess is they don't have all his shares. So if he bought it back here, then his T+3 would be tomorrow. So we'll see. If we have about 1 million shares that need to be hedged, and also that guy's T+3s, if they just want, I don't think they want to fail to deliver that big of an amount. Like failing to deliver like 800K shares, that's like one thing. To fail to deliver like 1.8 million, that'd be like that'd be pretty bad. I do somehow not have faith that anyone's going to close anything out after 13 days. Yeah, I'm not assuming anyone's doing that. Listen, I'll be here. I've been holding this stock for a long time. I'll be here buying. I'll buy the whole damn float myself someday. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, if they want to continue this, I will somehow prove that they sold more shares than actually exist. And if I have to lock up the entire float myself, I'll do that, just because I think they've been playing games. And everything that I've seen points to that evidence that they never closed fully, and then they sold out of their shares on like March 8th, roughly around that time frame, which is back here. All right, I'm gonna try this. Let me go find. So this was the 4th. Let me go to the daily. All right. It was even further back. That's the 8th. That's when they hit 100% utilization. So my theory is sometime around this time, the entire float got locked up. And then we were chopped around for a while. We hit an all-time low. They were trying to get people to sell. And then, because the shares got cheap down here. So, like, retail that was still buying down here got, like, way more bang for their buck. So then, all of a sudden, we finally got volume. And they trapped these shorts right here. Like, whoever did this knew what they were doing. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're just going to trap these guys. So they came out guns blazing. We got some social media, like, attention here. And then, boom, like, just explosion. This was just to kind of put the nail in the coffin. At this point, the shorts were like, all right, we're going to fight this. Well, the problem is, every time the bulls just want to apply pressure, they're just kind of going up with these trend lines. These shorts pushed it down. This was probably Friday, OPEX. Or no, was it this one that was OPEX? They made us miss? No, it was this one, right? The 20th would have been... Yeah, right? The 20th would have been Wednesday. So it was this one that was the... Right, they pushed us down, made us miss 550. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, that works. So, no, VSonic, the exchange reported data came out, so they had to adjust their Ortex numbers. Remember, whenever you look at the Ortex number, that's an estimate. And those estimates are based off of where the exchange reported data comes out. And then on top of that, they end up having to, they have a mathematical equation that they basically put out there and say, okay, we saw that X amount of shares got borrowed, X amount of shares got returned, so roughly this is what the SI should be. But it's not perfect. So whenever they get exchange reported data, they get to, tweak their, their math. Yeah, and has been leaking tweets lately. You think this is a push for a better social media presence? Shirts too. You call out shorts, obviously. What's your CEO grade on Yonder? Listen, so I don't have the qualifications to rate a CEO, to be honest with you. I know they went through a difficult period with the shipping. And that is going to be something that's, I mean, that was potentially like a huge, huge problem. And they seem to have gotten through that. I think what I would have liked to seen is a little more social media like presence for them. I don't know if he got gag ordered. It's possible he did, and that would explain a lot why he's not able to say anything about naked shorting anymore. Just because the SEC basically was like, if you want us to investigate this, you can't say shit anymore. That'd be my guess. But I think the one thing I do appreciate is that he's just kind of keeping his head down and just doing what he can with the company. Like, when I've listened to him talk on the earnings calls, it's typically like, okay, this is what's going on with this. And he's being cautious. Like, he doesn't want to overpromise anything to investors. And I think that's the smart thing to do, because if you overpromise and you can't deliver, unless you're Elon Musk, then you're going to get absolutely, they're in a delicate space right now. They don't want to overpromise anything. They got to be smart about how they do stuff. So, yeah, I don't really feel qualified to like grade him. I will say that I think that he got gag ordered by the SEC, and I think the SEC, in my opinion, is probably looking into shorting on Aterian, because when I talked to them, they said they couldn't discuss it. So, keep buying in the money. Yep. Okay, so who is responsible for delivering the shares? What will happen to them if they're not delivered? Can you sell your shares, or are you stuck with them trying to find them? Well, your broker, like if you're, so Wilma, the way it works is when you buy shares, you're going through the brokerage, and to you, you're not responsible. You bought a product, they sold it to you, they owe you. You have an IOU. Just because they didn't deliver real shares into your account doesn't mean anything. Like, if you bought and paid for something, they either have to give you the cash equivalent of what the value of that thing is, or they have to deliver you real shares. So if the stock all of a sudden is $20 a share and they don't have real shares, they have to go to the market and find one for you. So let's see. Yeah, you can still sell them. These guys keep getting away with everything. So, here's the thing. This isn't over. Unless you're playing options and you bought a bunch of out-of-the-money options and now you're upset because, you know, the options you bought were too risky. If you have commons and if you're just stacking these in-the-money calls and letting them go into, you know, commons, then you have nothing to be worried about. I mean, legitimately, I can buy and hold for years. I don't care. A float this small, and there's no way mathematically that retail doesn't already own the float. Like, do the math on this. We've traded over like 1.2 billion shares since utilization hit 100%. Like, that's crazy. How do we not own the entire float multiple times? Like, even if retail's buying and selling, like, we still like own, because people held on from last run. Like, I think I showed you guys earlier on, and some of you may be newer to this, but I'll show you right here. Excuse me. All right. I need to go to... Yeah, I need to zoom out, right? check this out, right? On the daily. So, you see right here, they start accumulating, right? Accumulating. The OBV is going up. This is your on balance. Your money flow is green. You see OBV and money flow both going green. At the same time, on this spike right here, you see all the money flowing in, all the stuff going out, right? They short the hell out of the stock. You know, tons of selling pressure. People are like, okay, we squeezed the hell out of it. Good to go. Retail said, no, there's more here. So retail added more money and more volume. See, the volume's going up, money's going up. But at the same time, they were just nailing down the stock, right? So they broke through, and they're just selling the hell out of the stock because it's actually going through active dilution around this time frame around here. But here's the thing. Look, the money never flowed out. Let me just show you something. Watch this because this is pretty interesting. Sorry, I'm eating some Skittles for my kids' candy. All right, let's look at Amazon real quick. This is a normal stock, right? So let's just take a look at a time frame. All right. Let's look at this one. You see money flowing in. Stock is going up. Money's flowing in. Gets to here. Money starts flowing out. And look at that. And the thing goes down like it's supposed to. Money's coming in. Money's going out. Money's going in. Money's going out. That's a normal stock. Let's go back to Aterian. Look at this. Money flows in. OBV goes up. Volume goes up. And does it go out? Do you see the downward thing? Because this is a downward thing, like where the price is going down, price is going down. Look at this. The money never flows out. Money, in fact, increases. Look at this. Then we hit this part where we start running up again. Money goes up to 100% at one point. 102%. Like, you guys realize this, right? Like, the money flowed in and never moved out. So this whole thing down here was artificial. And now, if you couldn't shake out all the paper hands, look at this. You added even more pressure. And now it's all the way up here. And we're chilling up at the very top of this range while they're pushing the price down. And this is distribution. They're selling here. The money never left. Retail locked up the float back here. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's stuff on this stock that it just doesn't make sense. Once again, let's go to, like, Google, right? Alphabet. Money's flowing in, the stock's going up. Money's flowing out, stock goes down. Look at this. You have this, it's chopping around. But, like, when money flows out, it flows out. Go back to Aterian. Money flows in. Does it ever go back down? No. Does the OBV go down? No. Look at GameStop. Another one. You see the money come in, and yeah, at times, though, it lags. And so you can see, though, there's money flowing out of this, right? But for the most part, it never goes back down all the way. It's still pretty high, and then certain times it spikes up, and you see a little bit of different, but like it's moving up and down with the stock, but it's still remaining high. We're more like a GameStop than we are any other normal traded stock. Go back to Aterian. It goes up and it just remains up, and then it goes even higher on this run. We've locked up the float. The float's gone. Like, there's no, like, I mean, obviously I'm an untrained retail investor with, you know, that eats crayons, but something doesn't look right here. Like, something stinks. And, like, I know that the indicators are not perfect, but at the same time, something's not right. Like, we should have seen selling pressure. We should have seen these lines go down. We should have seen these lines go down. At least we should have seen some sagging. I mean, like, you can move into different time frames and you'll see slight sags here and there, but for the most part, it remained high and then it went even higher in this area. So, yeah, yeah. I'm, like I said, I'm just a crayon-eating marine, and maybe I'm reading everything wrong, and maybe I'm just an idiot. But at this point, stuff doesn't add up to me. So, you guys are starting to see what I'm seeing, I think, which is there's a lot of corruption and there's a lot of bullshit with this, and you know, that's why I don't like. I'll sit here and I'll buy this stock forever, and I will make sure that I can prove that this stuff doesn't make sense and that these guys sold more shares than existed and possibly doubled the float or tripled the float. I mean, it's getting really like this. Look at this volume. The float back here was 15 million shares or something like 25 million shares, and they traded 232 million in a day, which was like really? That's crazy. They traded fucking 250 million shares on a 25 million share float. What? And here's the thing. Then it went up again, and the OBV and the money flow went even higher, and yet the price has just been sagging. Oh, I know I'm really far behind the notes, but I did take a look over the reason why the crayon eating thing in the Marine Corps. Everyone used to tease, like especially the Army guys, would they be like, "Oh, those Marines are so dumb they eat crayons," like a kindergartner would. So, but it became like a term of endearment for other Marines. So we like to joke that we eat crayons. If that explains to you what that is. Yeah, I mean, like, this is a small cap that got out of control, and that's my honest opinion. Like, this is something that was not supposed to happen. Like, we weren't supposed to notice that they were going to run this company to the ground, and now we noticed. You know, yeah, I don't know how many shares they've sold. I have no, like, I mean, I'm trying to develop as many wrinkles as I can, but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm just noticing stuff doesn't look right, and I'm calling it out, and I hope someday that this can all get cleared up. But I think Yanev, the CEO, was right. I think the company was attacked by short sellers. I do believe that, and in some cases, yeah, it was warranted when they were like 48 a share, and the stock should have been. But they didn't start shorting there. They started shorting when the shipping crisis happened. So, like, yeah, at that point they were in the 20s, and the shipping crisis happened. You deserve to get shorted probably because your stock is going to go down. But once they move down below current asset values, which is your cash, your inventory, your accounts receivable, stuff like that, that fundamentally doesn't make sense, and that's when I knew there was a problem. And that was right here. It was recently. Like, they pushed that down. Like, 245 was the whatever the third quarter earnings. This one right here, I did the math on it, and 245 was the lowest it should have gone, and it went lower. And I was like, that doesn't make sense fundamentally. So, let's see. Yeah. The Golden Cross would be super bullish for us. I mean, like, if I pull up this here, right, and we go to the daily, this is it right here. My dark blue. I mean, I should probably do a different color. Let's do I don't know, like a yellow. No, I already have a yellow. Let's see. Don't want to do green. Maybe this color. Let's see what that does. Okay, there you go. Maybe you can see that better. But yeah, like, once this blue line crosses over, this light blue line crosses over this one, that's what a lot of bullish technical indicators will go off of. So, all right, let's see. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go to the bathroom. I drank all that water and that tea and that scotch and caught up to me. So let me pour another scotch real quick. But yeah, other than naked shorting on this and the possible short squeeze, is there anything on the business end that would be interest buyers? Yeah, I mean, this stock right now is undervalued. Like, I can tell you that right now. Like, when I looked at all the different, like, stocks that were out there, I didn't choose this one by accident. They actually had, like, a real business model. It had a low float, so they had room for, like, some, M&A. So, I mean, I don't typically choose terrible companies and then back them. Like, when I looked at, Prog and BBIG, they were interesting, but like, this is the one I gravitated towards because I understood the business model a little bit better. And I also realized the float difference was huge. And so I thought this was the one that I would want to kind of spend more time looking at. So yeah, there's tons of things. I actually wrote a ultimate DD that was pinned to the Aterian channel, and it's in my notes. I know I have like a million DDs now on this stock, but I probably will rewrite it once we get the new earnings out, so you guys can at least see the updated numbers. But yeah, fundamentally they'll be fine, and if these guys are able to do like a ATM at some point, if the stock runs, then they'll be in really good shape, and then your shares might even be worth $20 on the balance sheet. So you never know. Because that's what happened to GameStop. They cleared out their debt, and then they had like tons of cash. So they're on their balance sheet, they were worth way more than they were. Teabagging. Thanks there, World of Izzy. All right. Hello. Revenue growth every quarter. That is true, Market Ninja. It's called Shalig, Jonathan Robert. I get this like kind of like mid-grade like scotch it's called Shalig, and then I pour it into my own like mini barrel, and it ages it faster because like if you have more surface area hitting it, like with those big crates of scotch, like you don't have they rotate them and they do all this stuff, but with this particular one, because there's more surface area touching it, it ages it faster. So is there any chance that bearish whales own some $26 million of the float, and perhaps retail owns more synthetics than we think? Oh yeah, like, I mean, this stock has way more shares that are trading than exist. Like, it's very clear to see. If ATER hits 40, you need to roll that into a new car for yourself. Yeah, probably. I have apparently 174 people watching and only 77 likes. Those are rookie numbers. You need to bump those up. Thanks, Aloha. Did we get the numbers up? So we got 222 people watching, and we have 104 likes. Can you discuss how long they can suppress a price? Yeah, I mean, like, what eventually is going to catch up to them is the FTDs. That's going to be their pain in the ass. And if retail just keeps buying and holding, and then, I mean, here's the thing. Like, they'll sell us way more shares than exist. It happened with GameStop. Like, they have no problem doing that, right? But at some point, all these FTDs start piling up because your brokerages are the ones that are going to be in the most trouble, because like they can't tell you, no, we're not selling you real shares, we're selling you synthetics. So what ends up happening is all these synthetics are sitting in people's accounts, and they're considered FTDs because the brokerage is sitting there going, we can't deliver these. And in fact, I think one of the people today wrote me and said that Charles Schwab, he contacted them because they couldn't locate 240 shares for him, and that's very unusual. That you can't find 240 shares of a stock that has, millions of shares out there. That's interesting. So yeah, like they can suppress it for a while, but at some point the FTDs will start piling up, and then the FTD fees, and then they can also get like stuff revoked if they don't close out some things. So you'll see it go in waves, is my guess, and then they'll reshort it and they'll get back on the FTDs, and that's how they're going to probably play this. But as long as you understand that, like, I have at this point, I'm not ready to sell my shares, and my price target is up. I mean, there was more inflow than outflow. There's people still buying the stock, and here's the thing: like, the stock, like, let's do the math on this. Let me just pull up like a stupid spreadsheet or something, like a notepad. Can I do that? I don't think this gives away any information. This was just a tape from the other day. So let me just do this. Excuse me. All right. So we have 200. Sorry, not 200. 26, 27, 0. Right. And that. How many people we have in ATER stock right now? So let's just do this for fun. What's the numbers for that? Here we go. Reddit ATER stock. So right now there's almost 13,000 people in ATER stock, right? Let's just, and StockTwits has about 35,000 watching, I think. But let's just go off the numbers that we know, which is the Reddit ones. So if every single person, let's see what it would take to lock up the entire float if the float was brand new. So let's say there is 26, 27, 0 divided by 13,000 people, right? So each member would have to have around 2,000 shares for just, entertainment purposes. But at $5 a share, Now here's the thing: we know for a fact that 4 people in our Discords, like I've seen some of their screenshots, I've heard, but like, let's say that number is correct, that he really did buy 1 million shares. It was like 1.3 or something like that. So let's just see what that looks like, right? And we have some other people that have like 200K shares, and another people, like the person has 300K shares. So let's just say that's like 2-point-something million shares right there that we get to remove from the float. So that brings that number actually down to like 1,500 per person. And this is just like Aterian. This is not the rest of the world. This is just the subreddit Aterian. So like, if each person had like 1,500 shares, which there are people that have tens of thousands of shares, the entire float's already locked up. And that's starting new. Like, that's not including what you already have. That's pretty crazy. So, I mean, I think personally that they've sold way too many shares, and they have a problem on their hands, and they don't want to admit it. So they're going to try to shake that tree as hard as possible. They're going to, but they're breaking laws. They're already breaking laws. So it is what it is. Diamond hands. But yeah, I mean, think about this. Like, this stock price is low. Retail has power down here. Like, the sub that I was just talking about, the Aterian stock, if I go under, hold on, let me see if I can do this. Traffic stats. I think I can show you guys this without getting in trouble, right? Look at this. In the last 7 days, we've had 1 million views, page views. Unique, that's 71,000 new members or unique members that have been looking at it. And we've added close to 5,000 new members over the last month. Like, that's pretty crazy. And that number is growing each and every day. And if each and every day there's more of us buying and more of us holding, and like, I mean, this is, I showed you guys the indicators that show that it doesn't look like they ever settled up from last time. And then the float got locked up back in, February, March. And at this point now, all this new stuff they don't have any of these shares. So they're just kicking the can down the road. And, I think what's going to end up happening is the entire options change at some point for May is going to get bought up, and this thing's going to take a run. And how high it's going to go, I don't know. I mean, you can see here we had spikes, and then the biggest ones are when they actually lost control. Yeah, could that be May 20th? I don't know. But I do know that at this point right now, it looks pretty ugly as far as, Yeah, my cough does not sound good. I appreciate you guys looking out for me. I need to probably get, in with the GI specialist and see if I can get that taken care of. Go get your cough checked. Thank you so much. Is it Hyoshin or Hyosik-shin? Thank you. Appreciate it. I will go take that and go to the doctor's office. I have a sell order at $69.69. That will be the exact top. Yeah, I hope the FCC looks into my stuff, Maggie. I mean, it is what it is. I became a Gator this morning. Hey, congrats, Trent. One of us. Elon buys Twitter, Anon buys ATER. No, I'm not that rich. I was going to say, there are definitely some whales, though, that, owe more than the CEO. So if that guy's legit, that, the guy that bought 1 point something million, he now owns more than Yaniv and most of the board members combined. He owns almost as much, he owns half as much as, what's the former chairman? Asher. Asher has like 2.5 million. So we saw that on the 13F. Consider this. If we hit 20-ish, Anon can freely share all his DD on Wall Street bets. And you don't think this can hit 3 digits? Yeah, I mean, if we do hit 20, our market cap would be large enough where Wall Street bets could be in on it. That would be interesting. Keith. Shipping is going to be even worse in the next coming months if their product is not domestic. So their stuff is based out of, it's not Shanghai, it's a different port. I did actually get it written down somewhere. And from what I understand, the Shanghai one's having issues. The one they ship out of is not. I think they are looking at other alternatives to that, and actually that is one of the things that we asked in the last investor call that we had. We called basically as retail and wanted to know certain questions, and one of them was, do you guys have any plans? Obviously, your entire company's based out of China. Is there any plans of like trying to change things up? And they responded that that they are looking at perhaps starting something that, because they're a U.S.-based company, is there something that they can do in the U.S. or get the parts shipped over here and then assemble them in the U.S.? That was one of the things that we asked about, and they said it was something they have been considering. And then I believe there was other people that have suggested to them. There are other countries out there like that are in Asia that it's still very low as far as like but like somebody was suggesting Vietnam. Apparently they have a pretty good, and a lot of big companies are moving out of China into Vietnam. So there's some other interesting things that can happen. But yeah, I would be curious about that. Getting eyes on the DD is everything to any rational person would dive in. Yeah, I mean, I try to write them for everybody. I feel like the problem is, not everyone understands what I'm writing about. I assume most people have a basic market knowledge if you're going to read my DD. And that's probably not great for the average, layman who doesn't understand what like a free float is. And so, Anon, what do you do for a career? I don't talk about what I do for a career, but it has nothing to do with finance, just so you know. I am not a financial professional. Like DFE was actually a financial professional. I am not. So, smashing the like would smash that on Anon cold. Yeah. Did we get more likes? No. Okay. Well, we tried. I must have misread the wrong thing. And on the next DFE. No, I am not. He was way cooler than me. The live stream's too long. It is. The SS rule was triggered. So, casing, to be honest with you, the SSR rule means nothing. Like, there are too many loopholes. So, you can short an ETF. You can short, market makers can still short on downticks. So, they have something called short exempt status, which allows them to short on downticks, which violates basically like the SSR. So, yeah, they can still move the stock down whenever they want. They also can take long shares that they borrowed and bid whack them. There's all sorts of things they can do to get around the SSR rule. So, and usually once you go on SSR, you actually go down further because you're like a wounded animal in the savannah, and all the predators are coming to like check you out. Hey, Anon, how does the OBV compare to AMC and GME? I think I showed you guys earlier. Getting a little bit. All right, let me see. Dennis wrote me and said, "Thank you for your support in DD. Any thoughts on mana? Could it kill the run again with another dilution?" All right. You hooked me up with a tip, so I will quickly just do this real quick. I will take a look and just see what like a 30-second assessment of mana. You mean Mara? Are you talking about Mara? You put mana, and there's no ticker mana. Dennis, let me know if what the ticker is. Are we more shorted than GME was in your Cranny opinion? No, I don't. I think GME was way more shorted, to be honest with you. I know they changed the statistics, but I think we are still less than GME was at its peak. But we are also, a much smaller cap at this point right now. So, but yeah, it looks pretty bad. Like, I also when I pulled up GME though, I didn't show you the squeeze part. It was the more recent one, I think. So if we go back here, if I type in GME, and I go back though, see this was the run up to 340. But if we actually go back to let me do this. Let me do a 3 year. Then I don't think that worked. Let me try this. There we go. So look, this is the part I was talking about. So right here, you see the volume starts picking up slowly over here. But you see the money flow start really putting in right here. And then the money flow really starts going here. Right? But here's the thing. Think of money flow and OBV as retail. And think of this ADL line as basically the actual price, ignoring the volume and all the other noise. So what ends up happening is you still have money flowing into GameStop and staying in GameStop during the stretch here when they're just absolutely hammering it down. So this is when it hit down to like 38 a share from a high of like 500 something pre-market that day. So what you end up seeing though is they start having to like have all these FTDs hit, and then they spike up, and then we run up to like 350 again. And you look, retail's still buying in. Retail, and everyone's FOMOing in. And then you have this period of like long bleeding, but look, we're still very much high up here. It runs back up again on the next run to 350. And here's the thing. So over time though, you still have a very high money flow, but the volume dies down. And so this is where we are now. But you see the money flow for GameStop never really fully went out either. So just to show you, very similar where you have money flowing in, and then so when people say GameStop's over, okay, but I don't think they're over either. I think this is another case of a stock that got absolutely shorted down into oblivion, and then retail got in, and then retail never got out. And they're I'm part of this community. I DRS my shares, and I'm still very much an ape. OG ape. I was in back here at 17, and I still have shares, and I'm not gonna ever get rid of them. I'm just gonna hold them. And so, but I'm just showing you that's the reason why I picked up on that on ATER, was because it looked very much like GameStop. And once again, look at this. Here's a 3-year. Money flows in, it doesn't leave, and then money goes up again. So yeah, we're more like GameStop. And if you want to compare it to AMC, AMC's the same exact thing. Money flows in. Here's your run to 72. Now, they did get some like selling out, like, and then recently people have been kind of like chopping back in. But like, here's the thing: the dedication, I think, and not a knock on AMC, but like their balance sheet is not the same as GameStop's, and so they have a little more like, excuse me, damn it. Yeah. So anyway, not quite the same as GameStop or Aterian, but it's still up there. But you look at this and you go, oh shit. Like, yeah. And GameStop, same thing. If you look at the long-term view, money flowed in and never flowed out. Like, it's chopping up and down, but money's still in there. Once again, go to Amazon, a normal company. Money goes up, money comes back out. If you do some of these smaller time frames, you can see it better. But like over the long term, if you're looking at it, like you can see that money flows in and money flows out. Like, and that's how you get these, these ups and downs. So, just showing you. Yeah, that's a reflex from eating too many crayons. All right. Fidelity bought a ton of shares today. Could that be a problem for us later? You're saying they bought a bunch of shares for what? Like on the 13F? I remember you said something about them the other night, just being able to give them to the shorts so they can cover. Yeah. What is a golden cross? Golden cross is just essentially when one of your faster moving averages or slower, faster moving averages crosses over a slower one, like a 200 over a 10 or a 9. That usually creates what's called a golden cross, and then. I'm just reading through people's notes. T+3, 50-day moves. Yeah, so it's 50-day moves over the 200. Would be the golden cross, and then obviously your faster ones are going to move through that first. But if they pull that up and over, you'll do that. Would you say volume is the key? I mean, we can move up on volume. We can move up off volume, it doesn't really. As long as we move up, that's all that really matters to me right now. I mean, sustaining volume is going to be important because on low volume, they can drop the price. But what I can tell you is this. They're having issues right now because they're having FTDs and they're having T+3s hitting on certain days, which creates more like FOMO for retail. So we're still getting some volume. Like we're not dying down to like constantly these days, but this was lower volume and they were able to drop the stock. So thanks for the DD. Thanks, Brandon. I'm learning a lot from him. Since there are no shares available, let's say it's squeezing and you sold to double down. Why would you not be able to buy back in since there are none? So they're always going to sell you shares. That's what I'll tell you. But your shares will be a T+3, so it's not going to cause immediate. If you have the ability to route through the IEX or a lit exchange, then you'll be fine. Your stuff will count. But most people don't have that, so just throwing it out there. So let's see. And maybe more people, more wrinkles can dive into this stuff and maybe correct me where I'm wrong. But like what I'm looking at looks like the money never flowed out. And when you see that, that means that something shady is going on. Is there an ideal time on Friday to exercise? It would be at the end of the day, foggy job, but once again, that's not financial advice. It was just if you wanted to make them hedge the entire day, right before the close would be when you would probably do it, and then you would have a T+2, which would be due by the end of the day on Tuesday. Could you do a Skillshare class or something of the pros and cons of naked shorting? Yeah, well, I don't recommend it for anyone. All right. I wonder how many shares are synthetic. Probably a lot of them. I don't get it. They're not dumb. They see what we see what they're doing. They see what we're doing. What exactly are they hoping here? What will here that they think that will save them from this? Your thoughts. Well, here's the thing. So like they got trapped. Like, I don't think they want to be here. Like, if they could do this again, they would have covered here, down in the twos. They would have just let this run up like this, nice and neat, and, nobody would. But somebody came in with a ton of volume and just, like, trapped the crap out of them. Unless they did it to themselves, which I don't really see that happening. So what I think happened was some long came in here and basically just shut the door on them right here. And now they're trapped in here. And they don't want to be in here. But they also don't want to cover and lose money because then they have to explain to their investors why they lost money. So they're fighting it. And they're like, this is a small cap. We're going to be able to shake these idiots out. So, and honestly, if you look at the past, most of the time they've been able to do that. Like they might have to give us like 750, 10, maybe 12, and they're going to pretend like it's over. But, I mean, it's up to you. If you think that's all they shorted and, they're going to try to hide stuff in the options. They're going to they're going to pull out every trick in the book. And they've played this game many times before. They're just not used to it happening now more and more often. Where, people are just, squeezing them out. And it is what it is. So, if we can get those off Webull and Robinhood, those orders going through, they're not helping one bit. Yeah, they're not putting any pressure on because they're all payment for order flow with those two brokerages. And I mean, I use the Webull for for tracking the level 2s because honestly, I think it's more attractive than a lot of the other platforms. But yeah, I don't trade through them. Skittles. All right. Sam said it would honestly be a surprise to me if we didn't squeeze hard well before May 20th. Yeah. I am not on a blood pressure med. So yeah. Would you say you're comfortable buying the whole float? Yeah. I'd buy the whole float. I can't afford the whole float, but I would be comfortable trying. I'd spend the rest of my working years just buying up the float. And then I'll go to the SEC and be like, what the hell is this? How do you guys have all these shares that you're shorting when I own the entire float? Just like that guy did. Here. I pulled that up, I think, before. You guys want to see something crazy? Watch this. I'll Google it. All right, here we go. It was on Super Snack. And I can't... Here, I'll just link it in here. So you guys can go and watch this. What's the video? 3 minutes. I will sit here and catch up on the things, but if you guys want to go look at that video, it is crazy. So this dude went out and he bought 112% of the free float, and he ends up the stock like drops, I don't know, like something crazy, like 99% the next day, even though he bought every share. He bought every share possible. So, all right. Inhibitor. Bro, you're hilarious and a legend. Eating your kids' Skittles, drinking scotch, giving us fire DD every day. Thanks. Appreciate it, Andy. All right. Previous earnings report, they stated that pre-ordered lots by product to stage stateside in anticipation of hotter weather product. Yeah, I mean, JW, you were absolutely correct. That's what they said in that earnings. So they should have stuff already in the U.S. that shouldn't need to be shipped. They actually had a decent amount of inventory, if I remember correctly, that was already stored up. Because they were just like, if we're going to spend this much money on shipping, we're just going to get it done with and get the stuff into the U.S. So I'm not sure you did it yet, but can you make a 5-10 minute video of your DD? It would be fire. People would watch it with more. Yeah, I don't really know what I need to put in there. I'll be honest with you. I'm not like a YouTuber. I haven't really gotten the format down. I told you guys the other day, I don't know why you guys even listen to me, because honestly, like, I wouldn't listen to me. This is the worst format ever. I just have a screen of stocks up and I just talk to you, and then you can't even see my face. Like, I wouldn't watch this, but you guys are cool for watching it. But oh, thanks so much, JW. Appreciate the tip. Yeah, Mana is crypto, but yeah, somebody tipped me and then wanted to know about Mana. Oh, you're saying. Okay, so the reason why he was talking about dilution. What does dilution have to do with crypto? Can crypto get diluted? I mean, I know I put crypto on there, but I was thinking more like Ethereum and Bitcoin and, like, I don't know. Is he saying it's Mara? Is it Mara? How does it look on Aterian? It looks good. We were down 2 pennies. 2 cents. Money flow chart looks a little different on Thinkorswim. Still positive, just not as much as you see there. Yeah, and like I said, it's not like perfect, but I think there's something there that shows that money flow has been high enough. Get some Vicks menthol cough drops. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, it could run to the teens. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen, but yeah, where are the bots? Where are the bots telling us that this cannot go any higher than 7? I think they must have thought we were so, like, we were really having a good time with them, and they were like, all right, we can't go in there. They're just having too much fun with us. They're buying more because we have bots going in there. All right. Hey, Mark B. I was going to say, so as far as entries go, I would actually recommend checking out the Discord. We have a free Discord that we run, and there are a lot of really, really smart people in there that are using really sophisticated like tools. I would say this because it's going to change in the morning when we see the pre-market activity. So I'll link the Discord right there. If you join it, go into the Aterian main room and just ask, about probable entries, and then there'll be a bunch of, people in there that will probably be able to kind of tell you where they're looking. So, because I'll be honest, in the morning things will change, and so I don't want to give you a price target tonight when things could obviously, if we gap up, we gap down. Like there's just too many variables. So I don't want to give you bunk information now. I think it's better to look at it in the morning when you're trying to look at a possible entry, and you're gonna have to see what the volume looks like, and there's all sorts of factors. So we get the porn bots again. Where are they in English or in Spanish? Because last time we got the Spanish porn bots. I'm not clicking in them. I'm running a clean channel here. I probably do need some hauls. All right, let's see. Anon, what if we allocate 401k or IRA funds to mutual funds that hold ATER? Does that do anything? So there's not a ton of exposure. There's only about 4 million shares in like ETFs or mutual funds that hold Aterian. So it's not like GameStop or AMC where there's a ton of like shares that are held like in institutions. Institutions hold very little of this stock, so I don't think it will really do anything, to be honest with you. And also with this market condition, it'd be kind of interesting. But let's see. We all have the ability to direct. Yeah, I mean, so if people change their brokers to ones that allow you to, go through IEX or any other, lit exchange, I would recommend doing that, because why would you not want your broker to actually put your order on the exchange? Like, that to me makes no sense. Like, if I can't route my order through somebody that's going to let me buy shares on the exchange, but the problem is retail doesn't know this stuff. Like, and I wish like I could teach more people, because like I think this would be a huge step in like evening the playing field. I say it like every night, but I believe that education is a great equalizer. Like, you can change your life with education, and I don't take that lightly. I mean, I was not a great student growing up. I kind of found how I learned things, and when I was in the Marines, and so once I kind of figured out how I learned things, which is just tons of repetition, practicing. I'm a visual, but I also try things. Like most people are like that. Most people are a combination of like that. I saw a study that was interesting, which was basically there are no people who are individually like. Everyone learns basically the same way. Like, you may favor one style to another, but for the most part, everyone needs to kind of see something done, hear it. Like, if you just had like a visual representation but no words, those people that say they're visual learners, half of them can't do it without at least some instruction behind it, because there are the ones who are truly visual learners, but like most people need a combination of all the above. And I believe that education in this market is one of the most important things, because I mean, this is, if you learn how to do this stuff, you can change your life. Like, you can make money, and good money, trading in the stock market. I mean, you can when you start learning how to read balance sheets, when you start reading through and learning how all this works and kind of seeing through the bullshit. If you sit there and you are reading the Motley Fool and getting stock recommendations from them, you're probably going to lose money. And just like them, and maybe I can't say that. Sorry, any Motley Fool, I apologize. That was incorrect. I don't want to get sued by any of these, online publishers or whatever they are. But what I'm saying is they tend to have a bias. And when I say that, I mean like they have money that is paid them to write articles, just like, I have a vested interest. Like when I write these DDs, I have an angle. Yeah, I own this stock and like I believe in it and I'm long on it. And sometimes they will say like, oh, I'm not, receiving any compensation, or they'll say I have no position in the stock, but they're receiving compensation from the hedge fund that owns that through their, that's who pays their salary. So there's all sorts of things that you'll learn that, once you've been in the market for a while and you kind of can see through some of the BS, like Kramer goes out and pumps things, and it's just, this is how the stock market works. There are people and everyone has their own thing. And so if you can find somebody that at least is honest with you and will at least try to educate you on the bullshit, because let's be honest, a lot of the stuff that you see out there is bullshit. Like the stuff that I used to see on like Short Squeeze and some of the squeeze plays and all that stuff, they're pump and dumps, and they know, the smart money knows they're pump and dumps. And they send people in there to go pump those up. You know why? Because most of the time they're diluting, and they need people to buy into the dilution so they can dilute and raise capital. Like, retail is dumb money. And I don't mean that to be mean, but like, we fall for that stuff hook, line, and sinker all the time. Like, these companies are literally doing ATMs, and we don't even know half the time what that means. Like, I know, but like, I feel like, and then I would try to tell people that, and then I get accused of spreading FUD, and I'm like, you guys don't understand. Like, you're literally like buying something that they're diluting. Like, it can't squeeze. Like, they're issuing out 100 million shares of new like stock. That's why they're driving the price down. They're not naked shorting that. They're literally diluting it, and people just didn't understand that, and they didn't understand warrants, and they didn't, and that's why I started doing this. And I'm trying to help out people, and hopefully they'll start, I can help some people learn a little bit. The Discord's free. Like, we don't charge for it, and I don't want to charge for it if I don't have to. Like, I think this is stuff that every retail investor should know, and it is what it is. Anon's about an hour and a half behind. That's very true. Yeah, the shipping containers are very expensive right now. So you skip my question. Why doesn't money flow show money flowing into ATER when it hits its high last year? Yeah, so that wasn't retail, Goat. So that actually happened on and that's what I'm saying. Aterian's one of the most manipulated stocks I've ever seen in my life. And I don't take that like lightly. I've been in a lot of stocks, but like, if you zoom out on this and look at this run up, where's the money flow? You expect to go to these all-time highs, and you're just sitting up, hanging out, like overbought this entire time, and there's no volume, and there's no money flowing into it. Was it a hedge fund that pumped it up? Who knows? Like, it wasn't retail, because retail does this. This is retail. Right here, the green and the white, that's retail. So some hedge fund or somebody pumped it up and then bled it out, and then it got bled too much, and then it hit a spring and it went back up, and it's a very manipulated stock. And normally nobody pays attention to these small caps. And they were probably just going to put it under and bury all these, like, failure to deliver, not failure, but they were going to bury all these naked shorts that they used to help push this down, if that's what they did. Not accusing anyone. I got to really be careful what I say, because apparently, like, I have a buddy that's a lawyer, and he was like, you've got to watch what you say in your streams. So it appears to be that they must have used some sort of ability to lower the share price without actually largely increasing the legitimate exchange reported data. So how they did that, I do not know, but I'm just saying. So yeah, this went up on low volume and not any money flowing into it. So riddle me that, right? Do you think it pops off? It'll be more like the AMC rip. I mean, I hope it's more like the GameStop rip, to be honest with you, but I have no idea. Jeff Cat Buckeye. I'm pretty poor and keep the rest on my Cali trip this week, but I threw $1,000 this morning. I hope you get tons and tons of Cali trips after this one there, Jeff. Bots are trying to get us to tug it instead of buy shares. They want us to go pay, I guess, those sites instead of putting our money in there. All right, what brokers are those? I don't know which. The problem is I'm so far behind. I don't even know where half the questions are coming from. So, Josh, I'm sorry, Joshua. I'm guessing you're asking what brokers I'm using, or I don't know. I'm also getting tired. So let's see. All the off-exchange volume we get with ATER, we could have ran yesterday hard. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't on the lead exchange, so it is what it is. We're at the age of free information. Educate yourself. Yep. Education's super important, and we actually have some free education. If you go under the Discord, go to market education, go to fundamentals, and then the first ever post, I posted a link with a ton of free PDFs there. So you're more than welcome to go in there and download whatever you want, share it with your friends, educate your friends and family. It's all good stuff, and it's all free. That's just how I am. Obviously I accept donations for the Patreon. I mean, hopefully someday I'll be able to stream full time for you guys during the day, but I can't do that until I replace my salary. So maybe the payment for order flow was out there designed to help them shorts up. Yeah, because you get to see all the orders, so they know where your stop losses are. They know where, like, you have a cheat code to the market, basically. Fool's owned by a hedge fund. Yeah, it is. Let's see. Slide your card in my slot. Money will pop out. ATM. Yep. At the money offering. They didn't short April 26th and today. Yeah, so like I said, I think that there is some sort of long that's bleeding off shares, and I think they're doing that to help the hedge funds, or they just want out, but that's fine because they only have a certain amount of shares. So TD's fine. TD does allow you to do that, to route to the lit exchange. You go to basically trade option or trade. I think it's like shares and ETFs. And then underneath it, there's a section where you can literally choose your routing, as long as you're doing a limit order. Full disclosure, I have a Nile long position. Yeah, that's fine. Like, I know now people were really mad at me, Jeff. But, there was a guy that was, that was the meme investor or something like that, meme stock investor. And he was rude to me, and I was like, all right, well, he was like, mocking the Aterian stuff before Aterian blew up. And I was like, okay, we can do this if you want. I'll do some quick DD on Nile. And I started looking, and I'm like, you guys are in an active ATM. Like, what are you doing in that stock? And they're like, ooh, Nile to the moon. I'm like, no, you can't go to the moon if they're literally actively diluting you. Like, you go up, they push you down. That's like how the dilution works. Yeah, but like, that's fine. Many people feel Mullen will still squeeze even though it was diluted. And most of the shorts have closed on down. Yeah, I mean, listen. I saw a guy that was trying to talk about the balance sheet of Aterian, that he's in Mullen, and I mean, honestly, like, the guy can't even read a balance sheet, and he didn't know what a corporate charter is, and he didn't, like, there were just so many things wrong that retail gets wrong, and I even tried to write him and say, listen, you're not doing this right, and he deleted my comments, and I was like, gonna write like a just scathing thing on it, and I'm like, it's not even worth my time. Like, the kid was obviously he's bag holding Mullen, and he needs to get out, and he's desperate, and so he's trying to knock down anything else that might be what's considered a threat to him. But honestly, what it boils down to is like he didn't know how to read a balance sheet, and he didn't understand how those cashless warrants worked for Mullen, and so it is what it is. Why would you ever charge money in Discord? Well, I mean, a lot of Discords charge money. They usually charge like $5 a head, and then some of the upper levels they'll charge 20, 30, 40 a month or something like that. But we don't do that. It's just free. But yeah, there's plenty of other people that you have to pay to even just get in the door. And they have obviously they've got a bunch of people in there that are experienced traders, and you'll get information that you probably wouldn't get on the street. But at the same time, so that's what they're proposing their value is. But we're not doing that. I mean, next stick with no shares left to borrow right now. I mean, they're always going to have shares. That's the thing. Like, anytime somebody sells something, if somebody goes into margin, then they get new shares. Like, they're just popping up everywhere. Like, and sometimes they're probably, my guess is, speculation, but, they're sneaking shares in sometimes. Yeah, allegedly providing this info. Yeah, so max pain right now is $5, and that's kind of where we're at. Right, we finished 5. They're going to try to make it 550, but okay. Sorry, my question was: ATER management diluted in the last run-up. Do you think they'll do it again in the court run-up? You talk about pump and dump. It happened here. No, so actually that's not true, Dennis. So let me explain to you what happened last time. Last time, Aterian management did not dilute. What happened was there was a debt covenant that was breached. So I'll show you where it happened. The shipping crisis for Aterian, and this is the difference between if you really understand what you're looking at. So this run-up right here, the reason why the short interest was so high was because these guys knew that they tripped a debt covenant, which means that they were going to have to dilute. So the smart money started shorting the stock knowing that. Well, retail started squeezing them. And then they got desperate around here. But what ended up happening was around this time frame in August into September, they started getting the warrants out and the shares. And High Trail, which was the lender, so they tripped a trailing EBITDA. They had to maintain a certain amount of EBITDA ratio. And so what ended up happening was it wasn't management's decision to dilute. They literally broke a rule, and then the lending company said, give us your shares. So it wasn't an active choice by Aterian. They tripped the debt covenant. It caused dilution to happen because they had, an EBITDA, violation in their terms of their contract with High Trail. And High Trail doesn't hold shares. So what they did was they straight up said, as soon as we get these shares, we're unloading them. And that's what they did. And so they unloaded these shares all throughout here and then throughout this portion right here. So Aterian management did not actively dilute last time. It was basically forced upon them. And they said they didn't want to do it, but they had no choice. What about a gamma squeeze? Yeah, that's on the table right now. Can you still request physical stock certificates, or is that old news? The modern day equivalent of that now, Christie, is DRSing, and they have a transfer agent named Philadelphia Stock Transfer, I think. It's in one of my DDs. I wrote up how you DRS your shares because I did it a while back. So, and it wasn't bad. You basically just contact them. I got all the questions answered I needed. It takes like a day or two to get it back into your brokerage once you transfer in back. If you want to sell your shares, you can't sell them there. It's not like Computer Share where you can sell your shares out of Computer Share. You have to transfer it back to a brokerage to sell. But if you're not looking to sell anytime soon, you can DRS your shares like I did. I just chose to play some options, and then I bought some new shares while the stock was down. So I DRS my shares like months and months ago. Nobody followed me and did it, but, I did it. It wasn't that bad. What's the yellow line in the money flow block? Oh, that's the ADL. So this is your ADL right here, your accumulation and distribution. So if it's accumulating, it's yellow. If it's distributing, meaning selling, it's purple. So they were buying, there's some buying, then this was like a dump off. And it's sometimes lagging, so. But yeah, Philadelphia Stock Transfers, the transfer agent. So how probable would it be to hit 20 by 520? That's pretty far up there. I don't think the options are loaded that much at this point to suggest a run that high. But once it gets going, who knows? Because if the shorts just decide it's not worth it anymore and they start covering, yeah, you could see those levels. But I would not be buying anything even near their SWC. Like, those are not ones I would play unless I was doing just an IV spike. And so if the IV spiked, massively, then I would sell those immediately and then roll them into something more things. I'd rather give it to your Patreon and keep the Discord free. And that's how I think most people felt. So that's why I did it that way. It's not mandatory for anyone to do it, but if somebody did, I made a bad mistake today. I jumped into an IPO stock, didn't close, I was greedy, and now I'm badly down. All right, Reza. If you're in my Discord or our Discord, go ahead and write me a DM. Let me know what stock it was, and then we can kind of look at what your options are. But yeah, IPOs will swing around wildly, and typically they go down after they first IPO, and then there'll be some recovery later. So it just, how badly do you need the money now? If you need to, you can hold. If you can hold on to it long enough where you can get even or at least go up, then that's great. But it all depends on your own timetable. If it tied up all your money, then that's not a good thing. Would you mind doing your DD using yours to maybe like you're saying like YouTube? DZ's new DD. Oh, so he's got his new DD out? I want to read his stuff. He's a smart guy. I was going to say, he and I have been talking, and he's a smart cookie. We did a live stream together, and I think it was interesting. It was good talking to him. We have to get it together maybe this weekend. Let's see. I'm slowly bleeding off my other positions and getting more ATER calls. The longer the squeeze takes, the more shares I'll have. Yeah. I mean, I can do this all day long, like I said. Where on the balance sheet would I see if Nile's in the process of constantly diluting? You basically go into like one of the recent filings, especially like a 10Q or a 10K, and you just control F and then type in warrants. That's one way of doing it. Let me just see what Nile looks like. Yeah, like Nile right now has about 3.8 million warrants still, but they have an ATM that still has about 212 million shares that they're able to actively dilute. So the company's actually got a bunch of cash now. They don't need to dilute anymore right now, but they still have it ongoing right now. They do have note warrants at exercise price of 140, and then they have a ton of like unregistered warrants right now that are just sitting there at like $3, 187. So, I mean, yeah, they've got a bunch of things going on. So that is a stock that I am waiting to see what happens with them. Like I'll look long term, maybe down the road, but they have a ton of like they've already diluted. It looks like 120 million so far, roughly 120 million through the ATM in February. And I bet you if you look back and see when the Now pumpers came onto that site, it would have been around January or like February of this year. And then Nile would have been everywhere. And it's because they paid somebody to basically pump Nile so they could basically raise money. Because that's what they do. So, and if if you guys are Nile holders, then that's great. If the company looks interesting long term, but I would wait till it's finished diluting personally. That's just my my 2 cents. But yeah, a lot of people got caught up in that stuff because they think the problem is they make it look like it's a legit play, and then but if you actually know what you're looking for, then you understand that they had a February 2022 Ascendant ATM. You got an Egger filing right here. If you want to read it, it's right here. And they basically said that we're going to sell, a ton of these shares. So here's your at the market, right? And it was can I go back? Let me go back one. But it was 200 million. Yeah, our shares have a common stock of aggregate offering price up to 200 million. That's a lot of dilution. And that's right there in your filings. It was there for anyone to see. And the problem is, most people don't know how to read these things. And so, when I looked at it and I went, yeah, that's what's going on with this stock. It's literally right there. The first thing you look at, and this was dated from the prospectus in November of 2021, and they actually had it go through in February. So not knocking anyone, I'm just telling people that's what was going on with it, and it is what it is. Would it be a good idea to sell puts on a diluting stock? Nah, I'll be honest, it just chops around. That's all it does. It just chops down, goes down a little bit. They'll pump it up just to get it back up so people will buy it again, and then they'll do it again. When does the FTD data get released? Friday or Monday? It'd probably be on Friday is my guess. Will it obligate the SEC to take action? No. It's the SEC. But let's see. Retyping my last text. Would you mind doing a DD tutorial for your tools? Yeah, I guess I could do that. Just to show you guys kind of what I use on my setups. And it's nothing fancy. I do have ones on TradeView that are a little bit more fancy, that are a little more sophisticated for day trading and stuff like that. But I could do the basic ones, probably do a DD on them, or maybe I'll do a live stream on the weekend, and I could kind of go over how to set it up, and people could follow along. I bought some 2024 Now calls before the whole squeeze rage. All right. Let's see. What do we got going on here? It's 11:30. I should wrap it up. What do you think of Astro's Wyckoff Sniper for TradingView? It's good. I like it. I actually use it. I like that one. I also like the, I think it's called the Boom Boom. I think it's Boom Boom something. It's for day trading. You can see where they're shorting and where they're buying, and it's pretty good. Yeah, good night. Yes, thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging out, guys. So I always wrap up every video by saying I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out. I know this is not the most exciting format. I've lost Patreon subscribers. Huh. probably need to shore up and figure out how to give some good value to people, but I understand it's donation. But yeah, I do have a Patreon if you guys want to make me a full-time streamer, and if you want to watch me during the day's stream, I need to be able to kind of replace my salary, but I'd be happy to, keep doing this at nights in the meantime. But eventually, I'd love to stream for you guys live, and we can, trade together, and that'd be great. So there's my Patreon, and I will go ahead and link the Discord one last time. So if you are not part of the Discord, you should join the Discord. It's free, and come hang out with us. There's a lot of good people in there, a lot of really smart people. There are people smarter than me in there, so I am just one dude that's in there, and I consider it, all of our stuff. So have me on. I'm hilarious. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. Have a great evening. There's the Discord link, and then the Patreon link was just a little bit before that. And have a great evening, and I'll see you guys in the pre-market.